The old house on the edge of town had always been shrouded in mystery. Its dark, looming silhouette seemed to cast a perpetual shadow over the neighborhood, and whispers of its haunted past echoed through the streets like a chilling refrain. But it wasn't the house itself that held the darkest secrets. It was what lay buried beneath its floorboards. Years ago, the house belonged to the prominent Greenfield family, who were known for their wealth and influence in the community. But as the years passed, tragedies struck the family, and they became reclusive, rarely seen outside the confines of their home. One stormy night, a young woman named Emily Sullivan stumbled upon the abandoned house while seeking shelter from the relentless rain. Intrigued by its eerie presence, she ventured inside, unaware of the horrors that awaited her. As Emily explored the dimly lit corridors, she felt a chill run down her spine. The air was thick with the scent of decay, and every creak of the floorboards seemed to echo through the empty halls. But it wasn't until she reached the basement that she discovered the true extent of the house's secrets. Hidden beneath a rotting trapdoor, Emily found a collection of old tapes, each labeled with a date and a name. Curiosity piqued. She dusted off an old tape recorder and pressed play, unleashing a cacophony of chilling voices that seemed to emanate from the depths of the underworld. The first tape, dated September 15th, 1995, bore the name Jonathan Greenfield. As Emily listened, she heard the desperate pleas of a man on the brink of madness, his voice trembling with fear as he spoke of shadows lurking in the darkness and whispers that echoed through the walls. Intrigued and disturbed in equal measure, Emily continued to listen, each tape revealing a new chapter in the house's dark history. She heard the anguished cries of a mother mourning the loss of her child, the haunting laughter of a deranged man consumed by his own madness, and the soul-wrenching sobs of a woman driven to the brink of despair. But it wasn't until she reached the final tape, dated October 31st, 1998, that Emily uncovered the truth behind the house's haunted past. On that fateful Halloween night, the Greenfield family had gathered for a seance in a desperate attempt to communicate with the spirits that plagued their home. As Emily listened to the recording, she felt a chill run down her spine. The air grew colder, and a sense of dread washed over her like a tidal wave. For in that moment, she realized that the voices on the tapes were not echoes of the past, but cries from beyond the grave, trapped within the confines of the house for all eternity. With trembling hands, Emily reached for the last tape, her heart pounding in her chest. But as she pressed play, she heard only silence. The voices had gone, leaving nothing but an eerie emptiness in their wake. As she stood in the darkness of the basement, Emily knew that she had uncovered a truth that was better left buried. For the voices that haunted the old house were not simply recordings of the past, they were the echoes of souls trapped in a never-ending nightmare, forever condemned to wander the halls of the house that had become their prison. And as she fled into the night, Emily couldn't shake the feeling that the whispers she had heard were not just figments of her imagination, but the lingering echoes of a darkness that refused to be forgotten. Months passed since Emily's encounter with the haunted house, but the memories of that fateful night continued to haunt her dreams. Determined to uncover the truth behind the voices that had plagued her, she delved deeper into the mysteries of the past, scouring old records and newspaper clippings for any mention of the Greenfield family. Her search led her to a small archive in the town library, where she stumbled upon a series of articles detailing the tragic events that had befallen the family. According to the reports, the Greenfields had been driven to madness by the voices that echoed through their home, eventually disappearing without a trace, leaving behind only whispers of their fate. But it was one particular article that caught Emily's eye, a mention of a series of disturbing voicemails left on the answering machine of the local police station in the weeks leading up to the family's disappearance. Intrigued, she requested access to the recordings, hoping that they might hold the key to unlocking the mysteries of the past. As Emily listened to the recordings, she felt a chill run down her spine. The voices were eerily familiar, their whispers echoing through the darkness like the cries of lost souls. But it wasn't until she reached the final voicemail that she heard something that sent shivers down her spine. In the darkness of the basement, Emily heard the sound of her own voice, echoing through the silence like a haunting melody. It was a message she had left on the answering machine months ago, a desperate plea for help that had gone unanswered. As realization dawned on her, Emily knew that she was not alone in her search for the truth. For the voices that haunted the old house were not confined to its walls, but had spread like a plague, infecting the minds of all who dared to listen. With trembling hands, Emily reached for the phone, her heart pounding in her chest. But as she dialed the number for the police station, she heard only silence on the other end of the line. The voices had gone, leaving nothing but an eerie emptiness in their wake. As she stared into the darkness of the basement, Emily knew that she had uncovered a truth that was better left buried. For the voices that haunted the old house were not simply echoes of the past. They were the whispers of a darkness that refused to be forgotten, lurking in the shadows and waiting to claim its next victim. And as she fled into the night, Emily couldn't shake the feeling that the whispers she had heard were not just figments of her imagination, but the echoes of a nightmare that had only just begun. Years had passed since Emily's encounter with the haunted house, but the memories of that fateful night continued to linger in the back of her mind. Despite her best efforts to move on, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched, that the darkness that had once consumed her was still lurking just beyond the edge of her vision. Determined to confront her fears once and for all, Emily returned to the old house on the edge of town, hoping to lay the ghosts of the past to rest. But as she stepped through the crumbling doorway, she felt a chill run down her spine. The air was thick with the scent of decay, and every creak of the floorboards seemed to echo through the empty halls like a haunting melody. As Emily ventured deeper into the darkness, she heard the faint echo of a voice calling out to her from the shadows. It was a voice she recognized, a voice from her past, a voice that had haunted her dreams for years. With trembling hands, Emily reached for the tape recorder she had brought with her, her heart pounding in her chest. But as she pressed play, she heard only silence. The voices had gone, leaving nothing but an eerie emptiness in their wake.